Hi, everyone. Welcome to I Love Ken Island, Showing Some Love. I am Kathy Higginbotham, also known as Ken Island Kathy. I am here today showing some love to Carol Frase with Goosehead Insurance. I am a local realtor, and I get asked all the time, where should I go? What should we do? Who do I call? Especially when people are moving to the area. And that's why I started I Love Ken Island, because one of the things that is so special about our community is our local small owned businesses. And this is one of my ways of giving back, is to be able to connect with business owners and let you know that we have everything that you need right here on Ken Island. So today I am showing some love to Carol Frase. As I said, she is the owner of Goosehead Insurance, located right here on beautiful Ken Island. Carol, thank you so much for joining me. Can you do a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Kathy. I'm here just to get loved on by Kathy, Ken Island Kathy. Yeah, like Kathy said, I am the owner of the Frase agency of Goosehead Insurance. Goosehead is a national broker, um, which is the beauty of the company. We have 100, and so I don't sell Goosehead Insurance. I
Okay.
sell Progressive and Travelers and Allstate and Nationwide and Safeco and on and on and on. The company has 141 carriers nationwide.
Wow.
They're not all in Maryland, but I have dozens and dozens in Maryland. And the advantage of that is that when you're shopping for a home or you have an existing home, auto, boat, RV, motorcycle, whatever, we can take your information and put it in our system, and it runs through our rater to give you the best policy and rates for your particular situation at the push of a button. So you don't have to do that work. We do that work for you.
That's fantastic. I
Mhm.
love that. You know, everyone's always looking for value
Right.
and trying to, find the best deals. And sometimes, it's not a one size fits all.
It's
When you like,
exactly right. One size doesn't fit all. And it's not so much to think of insurance companies as one's cheaper than the other. It's just that one may have an appetite for your particular situation versus a different company. And so last year, I sold a lot of Safeco Insurance, which is a division of Liberty Mutual,
okay,
same company I use. And this year, Hanover and Progressive and Travelers have moved up. And it's their appetite for the market and also your particular situation. I'm working with in this economy, things are really changing,
okay,
and that's affecting the insurance market. So insurance rates are going up because now it costs more to rebuild your home or
right.
repair your home. It costs more to repair or replace your automobile. Building and automobile expenses are skyrocketing. So that's being reflected in the insurance market. And when that hits your policy and you get that renewal in the mail, it's so easy when you're a Goosehead customer because you don't have to make another phone call. We can just push that button again and the information runs through our rater. And today, what might be the best company for you could be very different from last year. So we take the work out of it for you, whether you're purchasing a home or you have an existing home or automobile. And life situations change. I'm working with a customer now who lives about 8.5 miles from a fire department, and it's a volunteer fire department. I never really thought about this until I got in the insurance industry. But when you have a volunteer fire department, it takes a little longer because you have to wait for the firemen to respond and get to the fire department in most cases. And so the insurance company looks at all that when they're deciding to insure you in the
Hmm.
first place, and then how much to charge you for those rates. And so this particular family had an insurance company for a long time, and they got a letter in the mail saying, we have revised our criteria for fire department and they no longer fit it. So they don't have home insurance effective next month. So we have a lot of carriers that will accept that risk, and I was able to help them.
I love that. This is the time of year I always, try and look at our budgets and plan for next year. So I'd be able to call you and just say, hey, Carol, can we just take a look at everything, make sure that everything's matching up? We have the right levels of where we need to be and make any
Ex-
changes. And you can do that
exactly.
without having to switch a bunch of carriers and do all that. You
Make a
do all
lot of
that.
phone calls. And you make a good point. That's another issue, is that I always review current policies.
Okay.
When I became an insurance agent, I realized that I didn't know very much about insurance, and most people don't. When I was studying for the state exam, I kept yelling to my husband, nobody knows this. We buy insurance because our
We're supposed
mortgage company says we have to, and the law says we have to.
right.
And there are some savvy customers out there, but for the most part, people are so busy, and you only have so much time and so much room in here
Right.
to, so you can go online and get a quote, but I find so often that people really have no understanding of what their coverages are. It's probably more alarming to me when I see that on the auto policy, because if you're in an accident and it's determined to be your fault, then if you don't have enough coverage on your policy, you're in trouble. But on the home too, I find that it's very important for people to do something that most people have no idea exists. There's something called the reconstruction cost estimator that this industry uses to determine what it would cost to rebuild your home should something catastrophic happen.
Okay.
And I have sat in beautiful gourmet kitchens in people's homes to look at their insurance, to do a review. And I look at their current cost estimator, and it will say builder grade, builder grade, builder grade, builder grade. And I show them that, and I look around their house and I'll say, show me something in here that's builder grade. And
Yeah.
so when that happens, then you don't have enough cost, which is coverage A on your homeowner's policy called dwelling protection, to rebuild your home. And that would be a terrible situation to find yourself in. And so it's very important to me not only to find the customer the best rates, but also to make sure they're adequately covered for their
Right.
risk in their life.
It's 100%. And I see it a lot in real estate,
I'm sure.
whether it is, um, some carriers, I think this is a definite benefit of having a brokerage, is that some carriers won't cover Ken Island. There's some that, the flood insurance they won't deal with.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you have that option. And then a lot of people in the past 2 years have upgraded their homes.
Right.
And
Right.
so did they adjust their insurance to make sure that it covers all of that?
Probably
Um,
not. And another part of that is there's something in homeowners insurance where you can, and it's so inexpensive, you can add this coverage to cover yourself for inflation. So you can
oh,
add a 25% or 50%, 100%, 150%, depending on your choice and the carrier, what they offer, to cover you. So you have a certain amount of coverage to rebuild your home. But if inflation kicks in and that's not enough, then this coverage kicks in, and
okay,
it's very inexpensive. And it's so important to add, especially now as we watch inflation at record levels.
right.
And again, that's something that carriers differ in. So different ones offer different options, and something you just don't know about if you're doing an online quote for the most part. So that is very important. And you bring up another good point about being on Ken Island. And I do love saying that I live on an island.
Yes.
Isn't that fun? So I live on the Chester River at the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay. And we are not what's considered a flood zone,
Okay.
but many floods happen in areas that are not considered high flood risk. And we have several carriers that we can choose from for flood insurance. And I just found a new carrier the other day whose rates are so competitive. So it's really nice to not only be able to research those rates for your home, but also for flood, and to
Yeah.
add that protection, because probably most people in Ken Island know that if there is a flood, your homeowner's insurance does not cover that. You have to have flood insurance. And we think of flood as a hurricane, a big storm, but it could also be your neighbor's pool that released a lot of water and came onto your property. So again, that's the education piece and the beauty in being able to shop.
So you just mentioned education. Tell us about what types of insurance that you do offer.
We have homeowners insurance, auto, RV, motorhome, motorcycle, toys, Polaris, ATVs. We also offer life insurance and flood insurance, jewelry insurance. So, and you can also, that's another thing, you can always choose to have a separate jewelry policy, and a lot of people will list it on their homeowners, but we can look at the advantages of both for you to see how much each costs. But the one thing to consider when you list it on your home insurance policy is that if you do have a claim for your jewelry, then it will affect your homeowner's insurance rate for the next year, as opposed to keeping it separate in a jewelry policy. But again, it just takes, depending on what you have, what the worth of the jewelry is, to see what works out best for you.
Okay. So where is your office? You're located here on Ken Island.
I am. I'm here on Ken Island in Chester, in the Red Apple Corner complex, right above the winery. Everybody knows where that is.
Yes.
And
great.
Right next to Dr. Cochran's office, a popular dentist. It's a great office. It's very convenient, and I love it there.
So how long have you been in insurance? You said when you were taking the license and learning everything, how long have you been with Goosehead? And
so I was in the security guard business for my entire career, right out of college. And I worked for a company called Pinkerton Security, which is the oldest security company in the world, for 18 years. Had a great career there. I was never a security guard. I worked in the office. I was the manager of Maryland, parts of Virginia, and West Virginia. Loved it. Great career. And that company was sold to a foreign company in the year 2000, and I left and started my own company. I didn't want to work for a competitor. I thought I'd really worked for the very best. So I thought, you know what? I've worked here for 18 years. I've seen every mistake there is to make. I know what not to do and what to do. So I started my own company, had a great career, absolutely loved it. But then I had an offer a couple years ago to sell the company, and I did. But I knew I wasn't ready to stop working. And I have a friend that had gone into Goosehead, and I really didn't even know what Goosehead was at the time. I just knew that she absolutely loved it, and she was doing very well. So I looked into it, and I was so incredibly impressed with the company, their business model, the fact that you could have this large brokerage working for you, that I asked about it, and they said, well, we'll have somebody contact you. And Goosehead Corporate called me, and I was just, again, so impressed with the company. And their headquarters is outside of Dallas. Huge complex, very impressive. Goosehead has the #1 service rating of any company in the United States.
Wow.
And not just insurance. But so I sell you the policy, and if you have a need, you can contact the service department, and they will get you your document or add your vehicle, whatever you need, in just no time. And I'm always here for questions and guidance, but they're so good at what they do. We let them take care of that piece of it. So that was a couple of years ago. I've been with Goosehead for 2 years this month. And so I'm still in the protection industry in my mind, still finding ways to protect people.
That's not
And
a bad thing. Yeah, that's awesome.
yep. And but I don't have any employees that have to work at midnight or Christmas, you know,
Yeah.
and nobody buys a policy on Christmas Day. And if you need a claim, we have lots of people available to help you. But it's absolutely a wonderful company. I've certainly enjoyed it. I love meeting so many people, clients, realtors, mortgage people that send us business and we can help their clients. And it's just very rewarding to me.
I love that you found another business, but still serving people in just
Exactly.
another capacity.
I've always worked in the service industry. And, when you don't have a physical product, then everything is about the service you deliver. And that's the only way I've ever known. So I guess starting with the way I was raised and then working for a service company, you just respond very quickly to a client issue. You never let the sun go down on a problem.
Right.
It's just the way I've lived, and so I love it. I'm always shocked when I see it still at this age when people don't fall all over themselves to respond to an issue that a client has or a need.
Right.
So it really is a great fit for me.
So if someone wanted to get a quote for insurance, tell me what that process looks like.
What I always do is, I have a QR code. People can scan their information in and it goes right in our rater. But I always like to get their current information. So I always ask them to send me their declaration pages of their current policy. And a declaration page is generally the first 1, 2, or 3 pages of their policy that shows their current coverage and their premiums.
Okay.
And that way I can make sure we're comparing apples to apples when I show them rates. But I can also, like I mentioned earlier, review their current policy and make sure that they are aware of any coverage level that they should take a look at and consider increasing that for their own protection. So that's where we start. They send me their information. I, at that point, put it in our rater and it runs through the system for me. That rater gives me the best rates, and I'll take a look at the top 2 or 3, and then I'll go into that particular company and just massage it a little bit, call the customer and discuss, which policy is the best for them. And then we can bind it in just a few minutes. If you have a home, then I send that invoice to their mortgage company if they still have a mortgage. And they just have to give me their payment information for their auto, and it just takes a few minutes. It's a very simple process.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best way to reach you? I know you said you have a QR code.
I do. So if you Google Goosehead Carol Lovelace, my microsite will pop up. You can email me at carol.frase@goosehead.com. My phone number is showing at the bottom. So you can email me, text me, call me, go to my website, and you can connect right through the website, again, at Carol Lovelace at Goosehead. And it's not hard to find me. I'm all over the place.
Well, I really appreciate your time, and this was great information. Again, if you are interested in getting a quote, like I said earlier, is a great time of year to kind of look at your expenses, get some estimates, make sure that you have the right coverage, that you have enough, or if you have too much, you are adequately covered. You can reach out to Carol. Her number is here at the bottom of the screen, 443-961-7820. And so obviously the name of the website for me is ilovekeniland.com. You're here on Ken Island. Tell me, what is your favorite thing about Ken Island?
Oh, well, actually, when you asked me that, what popped into my mind first was my neighbors. I love living here. The people are so fun and so friendly. And I mean, the water, it's so pretty here. It's just, and we have a lot of fun here. My husband's son, John Frase, is a local musician and he plays at a lot of the local places. And he's so talented. So we enjoy going out to hear him play. But, the water, it's
Yeah.
just gorgeous. We've learned to live with beach traffic. You just
Yeah.
don't plan to go anywhere on Sunday afternoon. And, other than that, we ride our bikes all the time on the bike trail.
Yeah.
I've even I rode my bike once to pick up a birthday cake because traffic was so bad. So, but yeah, it's such a great place to live.
I agree. And the water is definitely, you know, it is so cool to be able, say that we live on an island. And I
Yep.
tell people it's like living like you're on vacation, like to be able to go to the grocery store, see the water. Um,
That was my
and
goal. I wanted to feel like I was on vacation every day. And I
yes,
love, love, love taking a screenshot on my cell phone of maps that shows our little island in the middle of the water and
yeah,
sending it to people when they don't understand where I live.
yeah,
That's fun. I'm like, I live on an island.
yeah.
You would never know it.
The as I told you, I lived over on the other side of the bridge, grew up there, and I have a lot of people. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you drive the bridge every day," and I'm like, well, one, yes, I love like it's soothing to me. And yes, we might have bridge traffic a couple weekends out of the year. People on the other side, they have to deal with 270 and 29
Isn't
every
it
day.
true? Right?
It's,
I drove the Beltway for 18 years.
whew,
I'll take the bridge anytime, any
exactly.
day. Hmm.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining me this morning. It was great to learn about Goosehead. And again, if you would like to get an estimate and look at your insurance coverage, please reach out to Carol. She is local here on Kent Island. Her number's here at the bottom of the screen. And I hope everyone, I'm glad the sun finally came out
Yep.
and the fog went away. But thank you again, Carol, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thank you, Kathy.
Bye.
Bye.